Hey there, YouTube and Wooper Club fans. It's me, Michael Fruit Taco, coach of the Route 1 Burbs, bringing you a feature match from WCL Season 15 Week 2, the Cincinnati Incineroar going up against the Chillin Chi-Yus. Chi-Yus had a fantastic Week 1 showing with a 6-0 victory in their first ever match in the league. Incineroar had a much closer 1-0 victory, but are of course a very strong team, and we'll see if the Chi-Yus can pass this test as well and maybe start aiming for one of the top spots in the league this season. Let's jump into it. The Incineroar have Darkrai, Terra Captain, Ogerpon, Hearthflame, Walking Wake, Tentacruel, Deoxys Defense, Excadrill, Terra Captain Cramorant, Terra Captain Tropius, Diancie, Hippopotas, and Sudowoodo, going up against the Chi-Yus with Ribombee, Rotom Heat, Hisuian Samurott, Goldengo, Terra Captain Dragonite, Sandaconda, Breloom, Terra Captain Dragonair, Cottony, Terra Captain Gloom, and Galarian Slowking. For the speeds, well, they definitely favor the Incineroar with 6 of the 7 fastest Pokemon. We see that huge speed gap from the Ribombee down to the Rotom 6 for the Chi-Yus. So definitely speed is favoring the Incineroar in this match. Not with just the fastest Pokemon overall, but almost all of the fastest in the match. For the matchup, though, the Incineroar are looking at the Chi-Yus, who are weak to Fire, Flying, Ghost, and extra weak to Ice, with Normal and Psychic types being decent neutral coverage into them. Ogerpon looks great with Ivy Cudgel and Play Rough only resisted by 1 Pokemon while hitting 8 Pokemon super effectively on the other side. Walking Wake, I think, could also be good because of the 3 Dragon resists, only Cottony also resists Water, so it could be doing some nice breaking during the match. For the Chi-Yus, though, well, the Incineroar are weak to Ground, Grass, Ice, and Rock, with Dark Dragon and Ghost being decent neutral options. Terra Normal Extreme Speed Dragonite with Earthquake for the 2 normal resists is, of course, a very powerful option. With only 2 dark resists and one of them being weak to water, I also expect Samurott to put in a lot of damage, along with maybe Goldengo, whose Ghost Stab only has 1 resist. And, well, of course, that Slowking is going to be a big part defensively, so we'll have to see how exactly it plays out in the match, what kind of set it wants to run. Overall, with the offensive pressure and speed tiers, I think the Incineroar look good here. There are certainly some scary mons for the Chi-Yus, but I think they're just going to have to work a lot harder for a win here, so I'm throwing my backing behind the Incineroar in this match. But let's go see what both of the coaches decided to bring. For the Incineroar, we're starting things off with Diancie, max HP and physical defense with the leftovers for that nice recovery, Diamond Storm and Moonblast Stab with body press coverage and Stealth Rock. This is a nice physically defensive set with plenty of options to hit Dragonite and Samurott. I think the body press might be a little unnecessary, as Diamond Storm and Moonblast already hit everything besides Goldengo, who body press doesn't hit. Something like Substitute, Protect, or maybe even like Scorching Sands coverage could have gone here, but with a Diamond Storm boost or 2, Body Press will become a very powerful move, not at all a bad choice here. Next up is Cramorant, max HP and max speed Timid to outspeed Goldengo with some lefties of its own, and a Steel-type defensive Terra. Surf Stab with Ice Beam coverage and Roost plus Substitute for an interesting kind of bulky stall set, making use of Surf and Gulp Missile to get some extra chip damage. This is an interesting set, and kind of makes sense with Rotom being the only electric type. It's gimmicky though, and Gulp Missile doesn't fire if you're hit behind a Substitute, but, you know, the extra free 25% and a defense drop or para occasionally, I mean, that's a pretty nice floor to have. It'll do something, I'm just not sure how much. Then we've got Excadrill, max attack, Jolly Nature with almost max speed, and Mold Breaker to outspeed Rotom and hit it with Earthquake through that Levitate ability. Heavy Duty Boots and Rapid Spin let it ignore and spin away hazards like Sticky Webs while boosting its speed to become a threat in its own right. Speaking of which, Swords Dance and additional Iron Head Stab hit everything at least neutrally. While Excadrill doesn't look particularly amazing in the matchup, it could be pretty scary with a Swords Dance. The Steel typing lets it have a favorable chance to live 2 Choice-banded Adamant Terra Normal Extreme Speeds from Dragonite, while doing over half back with Earthquake. Between Extreme Speed, Aqua Jet, and Mach Punch, there's a lot that could pick this off once it gets some chip though, but if it can be kept healthy and brought in at the right time, it'll get off at least 1 big hit, and it's definitely going to be a big deterrent to that Galarian Slowking just soaking up hits all match. Next up is Ogerpon Hearthflame. Lots of attack and speed with an adamant nature to outspeed Rotom, but some hefty HP investment as well. lets it live 2 air slashes from Rabombi before Terra, as well as being a little harder to kill with things like the priority options on the other side. Ivy Cudgel and Woodhammer Stab with Play Rough coverage, and then Spiky Shield. Ogerpon is always going to be scary if it can Terra. Having a chance to OHKO max physical defense Slowking Galar after Terraring with that Ivy Cudgel. Terra is a little awkward for it, though, as it loses Mold Breaker to hit through Dragonite's multi-scale. Spiky Shield is great tech, though, that can actually get some chip on that something like an Extreme Speed to break that multi-scale, as well as moves like Aqua Jet. Play Rough is good coverage to hit Dragonite if it hasn't Terra'd, and Woodhammer is also strong damage into stuff like Sandaconda or a normal-type Dragonite. Woodhammer does big damage, but its use is a little limited in the match. After Terra, Ivy Cudgel is just a stronger stab, but Rotom is, the only thing that resists both Ivy Cudgel and Play Rough, who also resists Woodhammer. I think it's mostly there just to nuke things like Max Defense Sandaconda, but you could have gone with something like Horn Leech for some recovery, Stomping Tantrum to hit Rotom before Terra while you still have Mold Breaker, Knockoff. I think there's just a lot of other options to consider, but between Play Rough and Ivy Cudgel, those are pretty much what you're going to need most of the time, so not a huge loss in going for that Woodhammer and just having that backup if you need the massive damage. Then we have Walking Wake, a special attacker to go with that terrifying Ogerpon. Max Speed Timid with almost max special attack to get that Photosynthesis speed boost and a Life Orb for some extra damage. We do have that manual Sunny Day to activate Photosynthesis and boost the power of Hydro Steam, Flamethrower, and of course Ogerpon's Ivy Cudgel, with of course Eco Meteor as the last move there to do big Dragon-type damage. While I love the manual Sun, I do think it's a little risky. Slowking's Chilly Reception is a great weather counter, and with it being potentially the special wall of choice for the Chi-Yus this game, I'm not sure it's really worth the turn and move slot here to set up. Knockoff, or especially Flip Turn, I think would have been great moves to bring, but if that Sun can stay up, it will certainly have some big payoffs throughout the match. And last up is Tentacruel. Max HP and speed with a special defense boosting nature happens to just outspeed Rotom again, and Black Sludge will give it some recovery throughout the match. Rapid Spin as another hazard remover with Knock Off, Flip Term, and Ice Beam to be a bit of an annoying Pivotmon. This set is fine. I like having the second spinner here, but I'm just concerned that this set doesn't do much besides just take damage. With no investment, and Dragonite definitely losing its 4x Ice weakness if it Terras, which it almost certainly will, this is left to do at most small chip damage to most of the opponents. Admittedly, there's not a lot it can do with 2 poison immunities on the other side, shutting down options like Toxic and Toxic Spikes. If you're looking to just take damage and pivot out, though, I don't know, Deoxys defense is right there, but we'll see how it all plays out. Overall, I think this is a very strong team offensively, but with some limited defensive options, we'll have to see if they can break through the Chi-Yus before everything is in range of a Dragonite Extreme Speed sweep. This for sure puts out a lot of offensive pressure, though, so we'll see if the Chi-Yu are able to keep up. And, well, let's see what they're bringing. Starting it off for the Chi-Yus is definitely that Dragonite, of course. Max attack and speed, Adamant Nature, though, with boots to preserve multi-scale and outspeed Darkrai at +1. Of course, we have that Terra Normal boosted Extreme Speed with Earthquake to hit the normal resist super effectively. Roost and Dragon Dance for some sustain and extra power if needed. Really standard set here, but I don't know. I think I have changed up the investment a little bit maybe. The speed EVs aren't doing a whole lot for you, as boosted Extreme Speed is going to be the move of choice into almost everything, especially that Darkrai. If you want to outspeed Ogerpon after a Dragon Dance, that's still 100 EVs that you can take out of speed and put into some extra bulk. With 1 dance up, this is a scary mon, and with 2, it's pretty much unstoppable, so leaning into that bulk probably would have been my play. Next up is Gholdengo. Max HP, lots of defense with a defensive boosting nature, and enough speed to outspeed no speed Deoxys defense. Air Balloon will let it dodge ground moves. Make It Rain and Shadow Ball are the stabs of choice with Nasty Plot and Recover. Gholdengo has a pretty awkward speed tier here, right under the Cramorant and right over that big speed gap to Tropius. So not investing in speed definitely makes sense here. Being threatened by Ogerpon, Excadrill, and Darkrai, though, I'd probably have been looking at a Choice Scarf set, maybe something with Dazzling Gleam and even Power Gem for coverage. This will definitely be a good wall to a lot of the Incineroar's slower Pokemon, but we'll have to see how far that bulk goes against some of the big hitters. Next up is Hisuian Samurott, max attack and speed with Jolly Nature and a Choice Scarf. Sharpness boosted Ceaseless Edges, Aqua Cutter, and Sacred Sword with Flip Turn for momentum. Again, I think the investment is a little unoptimized. The Scarf set is great with really spammable moves, but all of that speed investment isn't getting you a whole lot. If you go Adamant, the only thing you really miss out on is outspeeding an Adamant Excadrill with a speed boost, but even if you're worried about that, there's like 52 EVs you can still shift around into a little extra bulk, I think. Not quite as much as you could get out of that Dragonite, but still something to think about. Still, solid set though, and definitely expect this mon to output a lot of damage in the match. Ribombee is up next, max special attack and speed with a timid nature, keeping that Darkrai honest with its speed investment, and a Focus Sash makes me think this is perhaps a dedicated lead. Moonblast Stab with Sticky Web and then dual screen options. Things like Goldango and possibly an unboosted Dragonite will definitely appreciate those webs, and some screens should give them a little leeway to set up as well. Nothing too fancy here, but as a dedicated or even suicide lead, I think it looks pretty solid. Next up is that Galarian Slowking, max HP, almost max special defense with the Leftovers and Regenerator keeping this thing healthy all game. Future Sight and Sludge Bomb stab moves with Chilly Reception and Toxic Spikes. There's not much to say besides, yep, this is a Slowking, and this is a special wall that will probably wall Walking Wake pretty dang effectively. I think Toxic Spikes is a bit of a wasted move slot with 2 spinners that are immune to or absorb Toxic Spikes on the side of the Incineroar. Slack Off or a coverage move like Surf I think could have easily gone there. Even if you want to go along with that, you could pair that coverage move with, instead of the Leftovers, something like a Resist Berry to bait and hit something like Darkrai or Excadrill really hard, but you can't go wrong with Leftovers on a Galarian Slowking. This thing is definitely going to be annoying to break through. And last up is that Rotom Heat, max HP and some defense, but a lot of speed with a timid nature to outspeed Modest Cramorant, and of course boots to avoid Stealth Rocks. Overheat and Volt Switch Stab with Will-O-Wisp and Pain Split. Rotom makes a pretty nice switch into Ogerpon, well, at least until it gets the attack boost from Terra, after which Ivy Cudgel will do over half to you. If you want max defense, you could just barely live 2 Terra-boosted Ivy Cudgels, but you'd need to take no chip whatsoever, so I don't think you're losing out on anything crazy sacrificing some of that defense, given that you do have Pain Split to heal up after getting hit once. I think Thunder Wave might have been my call over Will-O-Wisp as well, but I don't have any major problems with this set. Well, overall, well, I think this team definitely could be optimized a little more. It's got plenty of potential. It's all going to be about that Dragonite, I think, as if it can find 2 Dragon Dances, Pokemon start going down left and right, except for something like Max Defense Deoxys. We'll see how well the rest of the team is able to enable that and put it in work of their own, and if they're able to break through the Incineroar and continue a very strong start to their first season in the league. Let's see how the battle shakes out. So here we have the team seeing what each other brought. For the Incineroar, well, they don't see Breloom with Mach Punch to hit Excadrill or something like Sandaconda to wall it, so that's nice to see, but I think this is a lot of what they expected. For the Chi-Yus, no Deoxys defense is great for the physical sweepers, and no Darkrai is one less threat to Goldango and Slowking at least as well, so we'll see how the coaches decide to play out this match. We're going to see the leads of Diancie into Ribombee. Diancie has an okay matchup into everything except Goldango and maybe Samurott, and can get up rocks, so I think it's a pretty nice lead here. And, well, for the Incineroar, or for the Chi-Yus, the Ribombee was probably always the plan to be led here, so we'll see what happens. Of course, webs out from the Ribombee as Diancie immediately brings it down to Sash with Diamond Storm, getting that nice defense boost. Turn 2, Light Screen comes out, the Diamond Storm will pick up the KO, get another boost, and we bring out the Goldango. Ribombee going for Light Screen is a little interesting. I probably would have gone for Reflect, as I think Ogerpon and Excadrill are the scarier sweepers on the opposing team. Of course, Walking Wake does put out plenty of damage, and there are other special attacking options, so Light Screen not terrible, but I probably would have gone out for the Reflect. But now we have the Goldango here definitely threatening that Diancie. It's going to be forced out into Tentacruel, who's going to ignore the webs thanks to Clear Body, and is going to easily shrug off a Make It Rain here. Turn 4, we'll see the Flip Turn pop the balloon, and it's going to send out the Excadrill as Goldango here is going to go for a Nasty Plot. Dragonite is going to be forced to switch in and is going to dodge the obvious Earthquake. Rapid Spin here is going to clear the webs and break multi-scale, but is going to give a mostly free Dragon Dance to that Dragonite. Terra Normal here may be predicting a Rock move, but Iron Head comes out and Dragonite roosts back up to 84%. This was pretty interesting. There were a couple plays that the Chi-Yus could have gone for here. They could have gotten a second Dragon Dance up, at which point they outspeed and OHKO everything but Diancie and Walking Wake, who are rolls to KO. And of course, well, the Terra Cramorant is a 50-50 to guess if it Terras or not, whether you go for E-Speed or Earthquake. They could have also Earthquaked instead of going for that first Dragon Dance, which would OHKO an offensive Excadrill like this one. Going for the KO right away might not have been worth giving up that multiscale though, so I definitely like going for some setup here, trying to pull something off. I think he definitely expected to take less from a Rock move this turn and then roost up to potentially full here. So I really like the thought on the roost, and he didn't lose any ground at least. We'll see what he goes for here, as he's probably looking at another fat Earthquake incoming into the Dragonite here. Extreme Speed doing exactly half, but actually no, not Earthquake. Iron Head comes out, probably going for a potential flinch over the extra damage. E-Speed going to get the 41% chance for a 2-shot, as Ogerpon will come out. It's going to take a lot of damage from that Extreme Speed, but easily gets the revenge kill. It's going to bring out that Samurott. Priority or a Scarf here is going to force in the Tentacruel, who gets absolutely chunked by Ceaseless Edge. The Scarf is revealed, though, here as another Ceaseless Edge takes out Tentacruel, which means Spikes are here to stay, and Ogerpon is dead as soon as it hits the field. But we do have Cramorant here with a Dream. The hazards being up is really scary for the Incineroar, though, as without their two physical attackers now, they don't have great ways to break through that Slowking. The Slowking not having Slack Off that we know makes it a little easier for them, but they don't know anything about that Slowking set here. Samurott actually going to switch into Goldango, maybe expecting a flying-type move, while Surf does a quarter and finds that Arakudo. Substitute scouts what comes out, and it is a Shadow Ball. Another quarter of Goldango's Hearth from Surf, and then Shadow Ball means the Gulp Missile damage will bring Goldango just down to 11% and Cram to about half. Surf will pick up the KO and find another fish, but now Samurott comes out and Cram is now in range of the KO of that Ceaseless Edge, but the fish will take another 25% on the way out, and now Walking Wake will hit this spiky field. Samurott switches into that special wall Slowking as we see the manual Sunny Day go up. Hydro Steam does a little under half, showing the special defense investment, but the immediate chilly reception takes away that sun, so Samurott is going to be faster again. However, Wake is still just outside of the range for a Ceaseless Edge and extra Life Orb chip to kill it. Edge getting a near min roll here, so Wake is going to have 3 Life Orb attacks left in him as he gets the sun and speed advantage back. Slowking switching back in, this time into a Draco Meteor, and is going to take just over half. Rotom is now going to come in, heal up that Slowking as another Draco comes out, and Wake only has 1 attack left in him now with that Life Orb. And that attack is going to do almost nothing as Slowking comes back in to eat it, meaning that it's all up to basically the Diancie now. Diamond Storm comes out, does a little under half of Slowking's remaining health, but does snag the defense boost, giving at least a shot as Chilly Reception brings the Samurott back out. A crit could KO here, but no dice means Diancie sits at 60% after KOing Samurott with that body press. Slowking back out. This time, Diamond Storm does over half the remaining health and gets another boost, as Sludge Bomb does a little under half, but snags a clutch poison, getting rid of that leftovers recovery and getting a little extra damage. Rotom is going to get sacrificed here to another Diamond Storm and another defense boost. But the poison does mean that Diancie is going to go down to 1 last Sludge Bomb here after bringing the Slowking low, and that will secure the win for the Chi-Yus. Of course, because Ogerpon was there, but dead as soon as it hits the field to those spikes. Without that poison damage, Diancie actually would have been at about 31%, just over the 29% max that Sludge Bomb from that Slowking was doing to it. Of course, they'd have needed to not get poisoned on that second Sludge Bomb as well, but boy, that was actually really close to the Diancie pulling out that comeback there for the Incineroar. Really well played by both coaches here, but man, that Slowking, as in every season, it's just so annoying to break through here. Congrats to the Chi-Yus for another win. Definitely a fantastic debut season for them so far. We'll see if they are able to keep that up. Incineroar, unfortunate for that loss, but I definitely expect big things from them this season. Their team is just so scary. Well, that will do it for me today, though. Thank you all for watching, for joining me here for this feature match. Please like, comment, subscribe, stay up to date with the channel. We will have more power rankings, more feature matches, lots more coverage coming for you in the weeks to come as we get further into WCL Season 15. And, well, I'll see you in the next one.